all of us are just making noise. I almost want to believe that whatever Sowore is doing is going to be in futility. Is a Tinubu going to give up Wike for prosecution in the US? I don't think so. I don't think he will want to extradite a Wike to the US to face prosecution.
It looks like we can't fight our own battles. We have to get an approval from the international community or look at the faces of the people overseas and get an approval from them before we prosecute who needs to be prosecuted. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate you always stopping by. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't wait any longer. Go ahead and subscribe, like, join us in the comment section. So we're having an interesting conversation. It's about the feud between Minister Wike and Mr. Yele Sowore. And it looks like this has been ongoing for a minute now. And as we all know, Sowore doesn't really hold back when it comes to telling the truth, which a lot of people like and which a lot of people don't like. So Sowore is a human rights activist. He's been at it since the 90s, since he was in college in Nigeria, and he's done well for himself. He started as a reporter in New York, so he's done very well for himself, and he's not shy about telling the Nigerian political leaders what he thinks of them. He's gone after the president. He's gone after the IGP. He's gone after a lot of other people, and now I believe it's Wike's turn. And we're hearing a lot of things about Wike, about how the minister is misappropriating land or taking land from the people in Abuja and awarding it to his family members, and also buying properties in the US. And his petition the US Attorney General to investigate and maybe seize the property. And I believe Wike said that he has income to justify it. And a lot of people are saying that his official income does not justify him buying the properties that he's bought in the US. And in some reporting, it was mentioned that the properties was donated to his son by the father-in-law. So we don't know how true this is, but Sowore has been going after Wike, and Wike is not shy about returning it back to him as well. So what do you think about this ongoing feud between Sowore and Wike?
For me, I think I'm glad that is happening. It looks like somebody is finally putting Wike in his place. Somebody is at least matching up to his madness. Not quite long ago, he came out to tell us that basically Shehu Okimbaloye asked him how he was able to afford a Rolls Royce, and he basically told Shehu that his father is a general manager of so many companies. In my life, I have never heard that somebody can be a general manager of multiple companies, even two for that matter. I've never heard of that. But if he had said that the father, was on the board of so many companies, yeah, maybe that, people would have believed that. But saying that your father was a general manager of so many companies, I mean, that's almost like a red flag right there. It's a giveaway right there. And nothing came out from that. They didn't look into that, probably because he's close to power. They didn't look into it. The EFCC, in fact, I can almost, bet now that they are pretending to be asleep right now. They can't see. So I think they are legally blind right now. They don't know what is going on. And then the allegation of assigning lands to his children, and then nobody said anything, no investigation, there's no inquiry, nothing. The president did not make a statement, nothing. So now I think he thought he could just probably most people are saying that God is using Sowore to fight the Fubara's battle. That is what most people believe. That since Fubara couldn't fight him, that God is using Sowore to fight him. So let's see how it goes. They're saying that they have petitioned the Attorney General of Florida. I think there is another person in London that have also petitioned the Attorney General of Florida. Hopefully this time, he will not escape judgment or escape justice. Hopefully he will be brought to book, but whether they will bother to look into that is another case. If they eventually decide to look into it, he will probably end up like Ike Kuremado that is in prison in London. I think he probably have another 5 years to stay in that prison. So let's see how it goes. And I think Wike hasn't been talking too much now, and in fact, a lot has been coming out in the open. Sowore has been uncovering a lot of stuff. In fact, there is a hotel in Port Harcourt that they said is owned by him. That hotel is massive. So I think he will probably regret ever mentioning Showore's name or going to fight with him. He should have just let Sowore stay on his own instead of making that statement that Sowore is lucky that President Tinubu is a Democrat, or essentially that he follows the rule of law. Everything that he's been doing doesn't even show that he's a Democrat. It doesn't show it.
Yeah, I mean, if our leaders at the top can't really hold themselves accountable, people should be able to hold them accountable. We're seeing so many leaders allegedly mismanage funds. They've put us in the situation that we're in today, and nothing has come out of it. And it looks like Nigerians know how to adjust when time becomes harder. Nigerians know how to adjust and make it work. But if people want to hold leaders accountable, they can start by speaking up. If EFCC is not going to do the job, maybe EFCC needs to be called out, and until they're able to take actions. Over the years, we've seen that there's selective prosecution in government, whether you're at the state level or the federal level. If you're caught with your hands in the cookie jar, we have selective prosecution for that, especially if your party is the ruling party. There's definitely selective prosecution for that. If your party is not in power and you decide to work with the government of the day to make their lives better or to give them chance to win the next election in your state, yeah, maybe you'll get away with it. But all of these allegations, especially with Wike, is something that the EFCC should be looking at. It's something that should have raised a red flag to the president. And the president also should understand that the actions of his ministers are directly an indicator of his leadership. If you can't call your ministers to order, then maybe there's something wrong. The ministers should not have more power than the president. The bucks should stop with the president. The president should be able to jump into action and get things done. And if there's any rumor or any iota of truth in all of these allegations, it needs to be looked at. But we don't know what the president is doing. Maybe the president is working behind the scenes or is waiting until after the election to get some things done. But we know that the president is a seasoned politician. He knows how to play the games and he knows how to use his leverage whenever necessary. In the interest of the Nigerian people, if these allegations are credible, then at least the EFCC or any other corruption commission out there should definitely look into it.
Yeah, they should look into it, but I don't, at least for these first 4 years of Tinubu, I don't expect anything to happen. Maybe he's trying to bite now, he's trying to win the second term. Maybe that's when the fight will break out. I honestly and truly believe that both of them may end up fighting, they may end up feuding, but when it will happen, I would think it will be after the election. I think that's the strategy that Fubara should have, adopted. Wait until you get your second term before you start fighting your boss. And he went into the fight and then lost mercilessly. He was beaten into submission. Now he's more or less like a wild boy governor. He really has nothing. So maybe Wike and Tinubu will fight. We'll see. But if they don't, it means that nothing will come out from all of this. All of us are just making noise. I almost want to believe that whatever Sowore is doing is going to be in futility. Is a Tinubu going to give up Wike for prosecution in the US? I don't think so. I don't think he will want to extradite a Wike to the US to face prosecution. So that is the reason why I'm almost feeling like it looks like this is more of entertainment than anything else, because I don't really see anything coming out from this.
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying, but we don't have to rely on the international community to help us fight our battles. Ibori wasn't prosecuted in Nigeria, it was prosecuted overseas. And it looks like we can't fight our own battles. We have to get an approval from the international community or look at the faces of the people overseas and get an approval from them before we prosecute who needs to be prosecuted. And it's just sad. And again, going back to the discussion we had a few days ago about this French colony decolonizing their countries, I believe we all need to start taking power into our own hands, especially the president, right? They need to make sure that they're doing everything they can do in the best interest of Nigerians. We've talked about GMOs in the past, how it should never be allowed in Nigerian ecosystem, in the Nigerian agricultural system. We've talked about, we talked about how our leaders need to start breaking away from old contract, old agreement that's held the nation into poverty. Look for other economic ways to improve lives of the citizens. But if we can't fight our battles, we can't graduate to that level where we need to start making decisions on our own.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just want to make a correction. I don't think Ibori was ever extradited to the United Kingdom. He was arrested when he visited the country. Same thing with, I think, with Alamisia. Alamisia was not giving up. I think he was arrested. Alamisia is the former governor of Bayelsa State. He was not extradited. He just happened to travel to London and he was arrested. And same thing with former deputy, I think deputy Senate president, is it? That was
You're talking
arrested.
about Ekwembre Madu.
Ekweremadu, yeah, he was. I don't think he was extradited. He just happened to travel there and he was arrested. So I think it will probably be hard or difficult for Tinubu to say he's giving up his bestie for prosecution. That is why I'm believing that whatever that is going on between Wike and Sowore is more of entertainment than anything else. I don't really see anything coming out from it. Unless somebody else come into power and then the person decide to give him up. And don't forget, these politicians, they are very quick to make peace, before you know, tomorrow, if hypothetically, if Tinubu doesn't win second term, before you know, Wike will be in bed with the new government. So these people, it's not difficult for them to break up and make up. It's easy for them. It takes just a few seconds for them to do that. So let us know what you think in the comment section. Do you really think that this is going to be the end of Wike, or this is going to rein in Wike and make him talk less? And then do you think this is going to make him stop putting his foot in his mouth? Let us know what you think in the comment section, and we'll be happy to read your comment. And thank you for your support.